Good morning. Welcome to my couch. Today on Mac Chats, we're going to talk about episodes 3 and 4 of the NHRA Vice TV series of Chasing Speed. I have been such a huge fan of this show. It has been wonderful. Okay. The editing, the raw emotion that they're showing has been unlike most other shows that you see out there. I've loved it. Um, so episode 3, they talked about all the women in drag racing. Well, not all of them, but a good amount of the women in drag racing and how difficult it has been for them to be in the sport. Not like difficulty with competitors, but mostly difficulty with fans. And how do I want to word this? How rude some fans can be. So it opens. Oh gosh, this was okay. This was the greatest thing I think Vice TV could have done with this is they opened it with a bad comment that Julie Natus had gotten on one of her posts, where some guy made a comment about how how do I want to phrase this? Her chest and her booty are the reasons that she has a ride and blah blah blah. And it was they didn't blur his name. They didn't blur his name not one bit. They said first and last name, here you go. You want to say it with your chest? Say it with your chest on national TV. How about that? Which I loved it. Okay, so just that was a 10 out of 10 move. I hope that guy watched the series and is now reflecting on himself and like, maybe I should not have said that on God's green internet. Almost like the internet is forever or something crazy like that. Who would have known? Oh my gosh, I cackled. I cackled that they left his name in there. It warmed my heart, honestly. um, but yeah, it showed like not like the difficulty the female drivers have with other competitors because there's not really any. Well, at least now there's not much animosity there, but there has been in the past. We'll get to that. But it talked a lot about how the most of the problems that the women have is not with the other drivers, but it's with the fans and just how crappy people can be sometimes. And I appreciated that there because there's every couple of weeks Ida Zetterstrom has to share a thing on her page of these are my only social medias. I will not message you. I will not date you. I will not be your wife. I will not ask for money. All of these like things that should be quite obvious in my humble opinion. Okay, as somebody who grew up with the internet, you should be able to figure out okay, this is not this real person. I don't know. It's silly to me. But showed a lot of the struggles that they have with that. And so the one going back to what I was saying about the there's not much animosity anymore. We finally got the video of Erica Enders and Tanner Gray's fight where Tanner said, "Okay, sweetheart." Like and okay, here's the thing. I want to preface this. Obviously, I love Erica, okay? I was a Tanner Gray fan when he started driving in Pro Stock because I was like, ooh, that's a cute boy, okay? So, but the second that I heard that had happened, I was 10 toes down, oh, hell no, okay? You're not going to do my girl dirty like that. And then actually getting to see that play out, I was like, oh, Erica was 100% in the right here. I mean, like, I already knew that, but, like, I confirmed it of, oh, no, Erica was in the right here. This kid's being a twit. So, that irked me. It irked me, okay? You can't be the new guy and be all, well, I know more than you, sweetheart. Brother, come on. You've been racing for half a season at that point. Calm your butt down, okay? And I think that's all I'm going to say about that because I'll get mad. But yeah, the rest of the show, it talked a lot about Ida Zetterstrom and her rise into drag racing fame. I mean, she's an FIA champion, which is awesome. Okay, and then she came over to the States to run NHRA, and so far she's been doing awesome. Every time she's gotten in the car, it's been pretty good. Um, and it also talked a lot about her challenge with finding long-term sponsors or even enough sponsors to have a full season. Um, and I liked seeing that side of things. You know, we don't always get to see, we very rarely get to see what all goes into making a sponsorship deal and how that unfolds. So I thought that was a really cool piece that they put in. And then in with Jasmine Salinas, it showed her just raw, unfiltered emotion of her second season in a top fuel dragster and just how difficult of a time she was having, not with driving, but with the fans and other people's comments and some of the questions that she was getting in interviews. I don't remember what race it was at, and they didn't show this in the episode, and I don't remember what race it was at, but I think it was Bruno was interviewing her, and she goes, well, we're not just here to scrub tires, and I was like, get it, girl, like, of course you're not here to scrub tires, you're here to race. Like, whoever made that comment to her, I want to know their name, okay? Because, but my guy, what were you thinking to say that to somebody of, you're just here to scrub tires, me. I bet whoever said that to her doesn't even have a race car. That's my guess. I mean, I don't have a race car either, but I also don't say off the wall shit like that, so sue me. Like, so, I don't know. It's just, it was a really good episode, and it really showcased the drama that can come with just being a girl in this sport, which is unfortunate, but, you know, sometimes that's life. And, I mean, Erica even said in there, she's like, this is something along the lines of, like, this has made me a little more hard than I used to be. You know, she used to not say anything and now she'll shut stuff down, which I appreciate. I love it when I get on Facebook and I see that Erica's made a comment back to somebody. Oh, it brightens my whole day. But yeah, it was a really, really good episode. Everybody in it was just so good, and it showed their intensity of how much they want to win, and that we're not just out here for show, and, you know, we're not just out here as blah 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 whatever. We're out here to win races. We're out here to win championships. We have won championships. You can buzz right off, and I love that. I love that energy. Episode 4 was kind of a lot. There was a lot happening in the episode. It was still a good episode. It was just very crowded. There was a lot happening. And again, I wrote it all down. So it started with Brian Loans announcing that Jasmine Salinas is parked for an undetermined amount of time, which sucks. And then it shows her and Ida sitting at a table and they're talking about it and how difficult it is for that, like the public perception for it to be of like, oh, well, you're not a good enough driver to be out here and blah, blah, blah. You know, all the jerk comments that people make and how difficult that is to deal with. And so then it transitioned to the Women in Motorsports conference, and it showed Leah Pruitt talking and kind of went through a little bit of her, like just a little blurb of like her at the conference and then her driving to a race. And Dom's in the back seat. You can hear him making little baby noises, and she's talking like, you know, I read a bunch of books on pregnancy and infancy, and she's like, I think the thing that makes him such a happy baby is because I had such a happy pregnancy. So then it moved on to Joliet and Tony Stewart's second win and the excitement of the team in that. And then it flipped to Matt Hagan and kind of show him his silly, goofy side. That man is so funny. Sometimes you'll catch him in an interview and he'll be all looking serious. And then you see where he's dancing around on the starting line. He's bebopping around in the pits. He's just a silly, happy, goofy guy, and I love it. Then it moves on to Austin Prock. I believe they're still at Joliet here. It moves on to his qualifying struggles, and he says he was like banana peeling, like the tire tracks looked like a banana peel, and how hard the car was moving, and how his team was starting to give him crap for it, and he was like, I'm trying, I'm doing my best, guys, and it ended up being the car was overtuned, so not his fault, and he made a comment of, to his team, he had made a comment of, if it was any other driver in there, it'd have smoked at 100 feet instead of 300, which I like that cockiness, okay? I'm here for it. Then it moves on to Antron Brown, and he talks a little bit about being the first African-American NHRA champion and how much that means, not so much to him, but how much it means to other people, younger kids that look like him. I'm paraphrasing here what he said, but younger people that look like him that can see like, okay, I can do this cool thing too. And I see how important that is, having other women driving, you know. So I assume it's the same across the board of race and gender and all that. But it shows how kind he is and how funny he is. And he's also a silly goofball, and I love it. And then it shows him and his son Anson racing at one of my home tracks, Martin, Michigan. And it kind of jumps around. It kind of like jumps back and forth to that race. But in that race, it's a big money bracket race. They talk to the announcer. Gosh, his name is slipping my mind right now. Again, I've listened to this guy talk for 20 years now. I should remember his name. So they're at 131. Anson's racing. Antron's tuning and helping him learn. Sean Langdon is also there racing and also helping Anson learn. And they interviewed another bracket racer. I don't remember what that guy's name was. And he talked about how bracket racing is more competitive than the pros, the big leagues, we'll call it. And I thought that was really interesting and good on NHRA for keeping that in, because they could have taken it out. You know what I'm saying? They could have said, nope, we're not having any competition between bracket racers and the pros. They could have taken it out. But they said, no, we're going to keep that in. And I agree with the kid, okay? Bracket racing is usually a lot more competitive than Top Fuel is. And that just seems to be a fact, okay? Hate me all you want for it. Argue with me in the comments about it. I said what I said, okay? Then, okay, hold on. Is there anything? Oh, so, and Sean Langdon, he's also at Martin, and he's talking about how he drives the Top Fuel. He also loves bracket racing. I think he's a bracket racer at heart. And he said, I race cars. That's what I do. And which is so true. Okay. On Instagram, like 2 weeks ago, he was just posting that he won like he won a championship and a bunch of other races in a couple different classes over in the Middle East, racing in their league. He kicked butt, and he kicks butt when he races here in Top Fuel or in the Super Comp. And just, I loved it. So then it moves on to Richard Gadsden, and he talks a little bit about his backstory of losing his father at 6 and his uncle Ricky Gadsden stepping up and to him and his siblings and saying, I will be a father figure for you. And I think that is really special and really good on Ricky for doing that. You know, he didn't have to, and he did. And that speaks to his character so much. And it showed, they did like a quick little highlight of Richard getting his first win, and that was awesome. Then it moves on to J.R. Todd and him being the first African-American man to win a race in Top Fuel. And he was saying, he's like, at the time, I didn't even realize it. Then it moves back to Martin, and then it talks about Sean Langdon. We already talked about that. Then it moves on to Norwalk, and Austin Prock wins back to back, and it shows the hustle that is live TV. You have like a grand total of 30 seconds, a minute to get out of the car, get your helmet off, get your Hans device off, and be ready to talk on live TV, which sounds terrifying. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I know Amanda's sitting there barking orders at everyone, as she should be. But I don't understand how everybody gets that done so fast. It's crazy. And for it to look so good once it's airing, wild. Props to everybody involved in that whole live TV ordeal. That sounds insane. Props to you. So then it jumps into Seattle. And the very first thing we see is Sean Reed's crash. And it's a heart-stopping moment of this is the reality of drag racing. People can get hurt. People can die. And I cried watching it again. And then it showed Andrea, Sean Reed's wife, her sitting there on the wall in just tears. And you can, obviously she's worried. You can feel how worried she is. And Antron Brown is behind her holding her, and there's an NHRA official there, and Racers for Christ pastor standing there, and they're talking with her. And gosh, I'm gonna cry again thinking about it. It showed just how fast things can go wrong, and how hard it is when things go wrong for not only for the driver but for their family members. In the background, you could hear somebody calling Sean's son and telling him, your dad's been in an accident. He hit the wall. They're taking him in the ambulance right now. And that, gosh, it's, it's hard. As a girl who loves her daddy so much, it's hard to imagine that, getting that phone call. And yeah, God, that just had to be the worst day for all of them. And it just shows the reality of drag racing and how things can be going so good, and the race can be so awesome, and in an instant things can go so horribly wrong. And I think that cut from happy Austin Prock won, yay, to crash, to Sean Reed lost a finger, is, I think it was really well done editing wise. And it just really showcases the brutal reality that can be this sport. Gosh, yeah. So then it moves on to Sean Langdon's win in Seattle. And this is 2 races after his Virginia loss. Well, not really a loss. His runner-up finish after winning the race and getting the run disqualified because some bolts on the bell housing had shaken out of the car. And the whole time he's walking around going, I'm waiting until this is confirmed. Which I think is a fair comment to make, So to be clear, it was a safety violation that was broken. That's why the run was DNQ'd. It wasn't a performance advantage they were trying to gain. And that's the one thing he kept saying. He was like, I don't want this to be like Coletta Racing doesn't have any integrity, because that's what they race on, is their integrity. And stuff happens. And it's unfortunate when it happens in the finals instead of in qualifying. But it is what it is. So it ends with Jordan Vandegrift is going to be Sean Reed's replacement driver for 2 races. So that way his hand can heal up and he can get back into it. So the next episode airs February 18th, Wednesday. Today, as I'm recording this, I'm going to also post this today, so also as of posting. Airs at 9 o'clock on Vice TV. If you can't catch it on there, which I don't have Vice TV, so I can't. I don't have any cable, but either way, you can watch it on YouTube. And I discovered last Wednesday they upload it a little bit after midnight. So if you want to stay up like I'm going to stay up, you can watch it at midnight on YouTube. So either way, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a beautiful, wonderful day.